So this is how I prepare the images for digital image competitions, and they need to be in a 1400 by 1050 size. Now I do my resizing in Photoshop. Other image packages will have similar features. This one here is a standard size that you would get, or standard format that you would get, a 3x2 format. So this is the format that most DSLRs, image size sensors, end up with, 3x2. However, for some strange reason, the guidelines for image competitions in camera clubs is they want them 4x3. Now I've no idea why that is historically. It does seem a bit strange, given that most camera club members will be using DSLRs and producing 3x2 format images, whereas 4x3s are usually produced by iPhones, compact cameras, and some 4/3 system cameras. But the majority of people will be producing images this format. So we need to change this into a 1400 by 1050 pixel image. So here is the format that you'll probably end up with, 3x2, and if we go and look at the image size, you can see it's 1200 by 800, which if you divide in by 4, ends up at 3x2. But we want to fit it into a 4x3 format, so we're either going to have to cut these ends off, or we're going to have to resize our 3x2 to fit into a 4x3. Now if we do that, we'll have spare bits at the top and the bottom. Now the guidelines say that you don't actually have to do anything to add these bits here, but it does recommend you fill them with black. If you're doing the portrait format, so this is your 4x3 format for portrait, and your 3x2 will fit inside. So again, you need to fill this space here with something, and you need to fit your format, your 3x2, into this size of image. Now it's quite easy if you've got a 4x3 image, which this one was taken with a Lumix compact, and if you go to image size, you'll see that the mathematicians will see that should be exactly 4x3. So if I change that to 2400, then that makes the maths easier. So you've got 4 6s and 3 6s, so 4 3. So you don't need to do anything with that. So let's change that to the right size, and you'll see that it automatically puts the height at 1050, and that is exactly the size of image that you need to produce. So if you're taking on a phone or a compact, you need do no more and just send this image as it is. Now with the portrait format, you still need to fit that into the 4x3. So where are we? Back to our. You still need to fit it into this frame, which means that your 1400 is going to take you some to the left and some to the right, but this needs to be no more than 1050. Remember, 1400 by 1050, and it's not the longest size 1400, it's the landscape, the horizontal size is 1400, and the height is always 1050. Some people get confused and they submit portrait format images and they put this size here as 1400, and that's wrong. That needs to be 1050. So if we go to our image size, change the height to 1050, and you'll see that the width is much less than 1400, so it's just over half what it should be. So that formats it to the correct size, but we still need to make the whole frame 1400 wide. So what I'll do is go to canvas size. You've already got the correct height, and if you change the canvas to 1400, make sure the canvas extension is black, press OK, and there's your image, perfectly centered, and you would submit that as your competition entry. So that's very simple to do with 4x3 images, but with 3x2s, let's go to the landscape one first. We need to make sure that the longest size is 1400. Now this is a full-sized image, which is 5000 pixels, so we need to go to 1400, and you'll see that it's not going to, because it's a 3x2 format, it's less than 1050, so we need to sort that out. So now we've got the image at 1400, which is the correct width. We need to make the correct height. So we go to image canvas, put in 1050, background black, press OK, and I'll just resize that so that you can see, and that adds the border. But now the image is the correct size of 1400 by 1050. So you would submit that. Now with the portrait one, some emails popping up. The portrait one, remember we need the height needs to be 1050 and no more. So we'll go to change the height to 1050. Don't worry about the width. The width is half in this instance. So we've got the correct height, and we need to change it to 1400 by 1050. So we'll go to canvas, change that to 1400. We've already got the height, image background black, and then we have our 3x2 format in a 4x3 frame, and it's exactly 1400 by 1050, and that's what you would submit. So that's how to make sure you've got the right size. All images must be fit within a 1400 by 1050 frame, whether they're 4/3, whether they're 2x3, 3x2, or indeed square format. And if we very quickly, if I could just go back to this one here, and I'll make a square frame. Where are we? 2x2. So I'll just as an example, supposing I've got a square image. There we go. I need to make that the highest part has got to be 1050. If I change the width to 1400, then obviously the height will change to 1400 as well, and we don't want that, so we'll change the image to 1050. So height 1050. Then we have a square format at the right sort of size, and then we just need to frame it. So sorry, we'll need to go to canvas and got the 1400 width, and that is our image there. So whatever the image is, it's got to be fit within 1400 by 1050, and indeed you could even do it with a let's change that to free. If I've got a letterbox image, maybe a landscape. Now clearly if I change this to 1050, that's going to be too high, so if I change that to 1050, that's going to be 1900, so that's the wrong size side to resize. So we want to change, because this is the longest edge here and it's the horizontal one, change that to 1400. And then we've got 1400 by 737, I think that said. So we need to change that to 1050. So we'll add some canvas, change that to 1050, and that's the image you need to submit.